Hello YouTube, this is Kat from Set Free and Pass, and today I'm going to go through my goat deck profile, which is my goat control deck. So yeah, just going to go through that and show you all, so hope you enjoy. To start with the monsters, you can't have a goat control without the Chaos monsters. So I have one Black Luster Soldier, obviously set at 1, and Chaos Sorcerer. I have contemplated using this at 2, but I find it's quite a bit bricky, but there is occasions where it has worked, but yeah, for the purposes of my build, I only use one of each, and it seems to work quite well with the consistency. So they're the beaters of the deck. You obviously use these for their removal effects and so on. And then for the darks, so got Spirit Reaper because of the fact it can't be destroyed as a result of battle. Also the ability to rip cards from your opponent's hand is also very vital, especially in this kind of format where it's very slow. Got Sangan, which obviously is pretty rare to Sangan, a staple in all goat decks, so not much to say about that. And Breaker, so Breaker again at a 1, obviously almost a staple in these kind of goat decks, but yeah, so and then I use 2 Tuskiomis. The reason I use 2 of these, one because it's a goat control deck and it gives me the ability to use my Thousand Eyes Restrict and my Magician of Face multiple times, but also because of the fact I run creature swap in this deck, which I'll get onto the combos obviously with that later on, but obviously works really well with that because it comes straight back to your hands. I then run 3 Kaikus. Now I've contemplated changing this down to 2 because I find that having 3 of these can sometimes be a little bit of a hindrance to myself, because as you can imagine, if I have a Chaos Monster in my hand, I can't use it. Which is another reason why I only use 2 Chaos Monsters in the deck rather than the 3, because if I have Coco on the field, my Chaos Monsters are pretty much useless to me. But yeah, I find it very useful from the perspective of not only as an 1800 attacker, but also it stops most goat control decks, which is obviously prominent in this kind of format. For the light monsters, I then use 2 Magician of Face. So Magician of Faith is, see, Magician of Faith. Use it to with Tuskiomi to flip face down, get back your spell cards and so on like that. And I use 1 Asura Priest. I have used 2 of these, and I'll get onto that. So I use yeah. So I've tried between having 2 Asura Priests and 1 Shine Angel, 1 Asura's Priest. I found that this was far more useful to me, although there's not that many targets. But I find in terms of from the consistency point of view, it's just better to have something on the field to have that recursion ability. But Asura Priest is a really good card, and again combos really well with creature swap. Also DD Warrior Lady able to be used with Shine Angel. So Shine Angel can only target basically DD Warrior Lady and Mission of Faith, which is why you've got to hope in most cases that you've got your Tuskiomi or Book of Moon, which was also in the deck. Then Sense of Serpent. So obviously this is pre-errata, which means it just recurs back to your hand consistently. Tribe Infecting Virus, because not only does he have the ability to destroy monsters on the field, also discard, which is great for the light and dark elements of this deck. And I add in a Injection Fairy Lily. So this is just because of the fact I like Injection Fairy Lily, but also because it's a beta. But yeah, only Sangan can search it out, so you could change this out for pretty much any other light or dark monster if you want to. But I particularly enjoy this card. It does come in handy when you're into longer drawn out games. Obviously the light point issue with this deck can also come into a thing, but I find in terms of this is a really good monster to have because it can out a lot. But you could change this for pretty much anything from a Blade Knight, for example, with another light. You could add in, in this my case, could have had another Asura's Priest, another Shine Angel to give them more targets, but I don't want to just fairly. So that's my monsters. Now on to the spell. Basically, with any goat control deck, you obviously have the Trinity, so no point just being around it. You've got obviously the 3 here. Pretty self-explanatory. Draw, discard, discard from your opponent's hand. Not much else to say. Snatch Steal in here as well, obviously taking your opponent's monster. Heavy Storm, because of the fact to get rid of your opponent's opponent's spells and trap cards, which is great in this form because obviously it's quite slow. MST for the same reason. I run 3 Scapegoats in gate format. Now I know people don't use this many, they usually use 2, maybe even 1, but because of the fact I want to be able to get those level 1 monsters out, especially in this type of deck, I go all out basically on that particular element. And then it's go control, so I have to use 3 Metamorphosis. So obviously Metamorphosis, use it on the goat to get a 1000 Eyes Restrict, and also can use it on pretty much all the monsters to get out a level equivalent. So it's always good. So if I need to get rid of a level 3 or a level 1 light to bring out a Chaos Monster, have the ability to get rid of them off the field. And as I said, I run 2 creature swaps. So creature swap is really good in this deck because of the fact, 1, I use a lot of scapegoats, so giving them a scapegoat in attack mode and no CP over it. Also great because of the fact I use it with Shining Angel, but also Sangam, but then also my spirit monsters like my Tsukuyomi and my Ashura Priest, which I can give them Ashura's Priest, for example, or Tsukuyomi, and then get it back during the end phase. So that helps quite a lot. I run 1 Nobleman of Crossout in this one. I have contemplated having 2, but 1 tends to be okay, especially because of the fact that quite a lot of people use warrior builds in GOAT format, so you don't get many face down monsters. And also, I usually hit Save Magician of Faith, and I run 2 in my deck, so I want to hit that, but I side deck an extra 1 if I need it. I use 2 Book of Moons. So Book of Moon helps from the perspective not only from 1,000 eyes restrict, so if I have summoned a monster and I need to get another one out to be able to flip it face down, I have that. Also as a defensive card, but also unlike things like Magician of Faith. And then I use Swords of Revealing Light. Now, this one could come out quite easily, but again, it's a tech card like my Injection Fairy Lily. I just like this card. It's very iconic. I like it for the stall ability if you need to do that, because sometimes your hands get clogged up with all the spells and you just need that extra couple of turns to be able to draw into sync you want. And Swords of Revealing Light is really good from that perspective. So that's the spell cards, and now onto the traps. So I don't run many traps in this, but Ring of Destruction being one of the cards. Obviously, Ring of Destruction is great in GOAT format because it's a win condition. Because obviously, you both take the damage and you can win these games pretty easily from that perspective. But I don't run many traps because I run 3 Royal Decrees. This Royal Decree I find is really good, especially in this type of deck, because of the fact that 1, your opponent doesn't expect it. Because they'll usually use your Call of the Haunted, your Torrential Tributes and so on. And you play this card can stop them quite in their tracks. So I find it very useful from that perspective. But again, those particular trap cards you were probably expecting in here are side decks, therefore if I want to I can transfer over to that. But this is very, very useful to me because the fact that unless I go against a Horus deck where it pretty much is helping them, in most cases it means that I can get over their monsters with like 1,000 restricts and I have to worry about losing my monsters in return. So that is the traps. So it's a GOAT control deck, so obviously you've got the 3,000 eyes restricts. So 1,000 eyes restricts is obviously the main reason why it's called GOAT control, because you turn scapegoats into this monster, which essentially, if you don't know what it does, which I'm sure you do if you're watching this kind of video, but essentially you assimilate one of your opponent's monsters and make it an equip card. I say assimilate because of the fact that with series, but essentially what you do is your opponent has a monster, you take it, equip it to it, it gets the attack and defense of that monster. So if it's face down 0/0, or if it's face up and 2,000 attack, it becomes 2,000 attack. And the idea basically being that if this monster would be destroyed, you would, as a result of battle, you destroy the equip card. But every turn, basically you have the ability to take one of your opponent's monsters, but only one at any given time could be on it. So that's why Tsukuyomi comes in. So every turn you flip it face down, flip it face up, take one of the monsters, and then be able to do it that way. So that's basically the concept of this particular monster. Unlike Relinquished, it doesn't do the life point damage, which is one of the reasons why I'm thinking about toying with the whole Relinquished one, but that's because I like the anime monster, so yeah. And then from the other monsters, so you've got your generic ones you tend to have in these. So you have Dark Blade. I'm not going to go into detail of these because of the fact they're pretty standard. It's a Dark Bolter. You then have Ryo Senshi, Reaper on the Nightmare, and then basically from there, then you've also got Fiend Skull Dragon. And then additionally, just for the additional levels, you've got Flame Ghost, which obviously is the best card in the entire deck. You can use Sangan to change from 1,000 attack to this monster. You then have the likes of your Ojama King, which will then take up your opponent's spaces on their board. Master of Oz, if for any reason you can take one of their monsters, which allows you to bring this out, you never know. King Dragoon, again, because if you can. Last Warrior from Another Planet, Gatling Dragon, and of course you have to have Gaia the Dragon Champion. That obviously would be something else. I haven't decided yet, maybe another Dark Bolter or something along those lines, but haven't had to tend to use all the monsters in my extra rare deck multiple times, and because the number of levels you usually have the benefit of going around those. But that is the extra deck. So yeah, that is my Chaos deck. Well, my Go Control deck, I should say, because Chaos Monsters, so I always keep calling it that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the content. Like I say, I've used this recently and been playing a lot more Go with bits, and really been enjoying going back to it. We're also going to try doing Edison format. And anyone knows the channel, I've been watching since we came back. We took a whole break basically from around about 2007, but playing the games online from time to time and so on, so got a little bit of understanding of those, but we didn't play those formats, so we're getting used to Edison format, which has been really good. But as always, if you enjoyed this content, remember to like, subscribe and comment, and let us know what you think about Go format, and let us know any decks you're looking for. But yeah, this has been Kat from Set Brain Pass. Hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll hope to see you soon. Okay, bye.